Hey guys, welcome back to whatever this is, and on today's episode, Resident Evil. So for this episode, we are hitting the spooky time of the year, and I figure what better way than let's talk about some Resident Evil goodness, and also inform you all that I am kind of a fan by a lot. I have played this series for years, not from the beginning, but we'll get to that in a second. I just want to talk about overall, like, what a malleable property that Resident Evil has kind of become over the years, which I think is kind of awesome. It's almost completely shifted genres, created them, changed them, and then did it again. Like now, unfortunately, I can't play them, so I'm going to get this out of the way. I can't play the two new ones. They give me motion sickness, and I feel real sick. The stories sound amazing. I love everything about them. Lady Dimitrescu, yes please, but there's nothing... I can't play them. There's absolutely no way I can play them unless, like, the frame rate's really high or they really increase that field of view, because the view image is, like, really tight, and I think that's part of the reason why I got a headache. But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about the fun that is Resident Evil. So for me, it all starts way back. Not super far back, but back enough. It starts with one little game on a console that myself and my brother put a lot of money into and loved it to pieces for a solid 2 years before they killed it. The Dreamcast. I don't know how many people will view this as, like, sacrilegious, but, like, my first experience with Resident Evil was going into a Toys R Us and buying Code Veronica. We bought it. I don't remember if it was on sale. I was young enough where I'm like, I was aware of prices, but I couldn't quite remember. And my brother helped me buy it because I think he heard it was good and wanted to try it. But I was mostly paying for it. And it was Resident Evil Code Veronica. I loved it. It took me like a month to actually figure out how to beat it because, you know, I was in grade 7, so I was kind of dumb. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. And after I beat this one, then I went back and played 2, 3, and then I tried to play 1. But I never actually played 1 until it came out on the GameCube. That was my first experience with the first Resident Evil. But this game in particular, Code Veronica, was my first one, so it's always been my favorite. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's excellent. And because without this game, I don't play Resident Evil 2, which is infinitely better, but I still like Code Veronica a whole bunch, and I love 2. 2 is easily, like, number 1 in my heart, but, like, I'll always have that special soft spot for Code Veronica, even though nobody really likes it. But that's okay. I like it, and that's what matters, because this is my show. And what's your favorite Resident Evil, guys? Have you know, is there one you always think of when you think of the franchise? Because I always think of Code Veronica first, and then I go, oh yeah, 2 was great. And one of the cooler things was when, you know, the Dreamcast failed, they ended up putting everything on the GameCube because they made that deal where they were like, this is going to be the home of Resident Evil. That became a thing. And, you know, we got 4 out of it. And 4 was one of those cool games where I skipped class to play it. I dipped out of class, picked it up and skipped my 2 afternoon classes, came home, and played Resident Evil 4. I did nothing but eat, breathe, and live Resident Evil 4. It was awesome. And the worst thing I discovered was that I had a faulty GameCube. It had an impure lens or something like that. So I remember I actually had to buy this one and replace my original one, because for whatever reason, it couldn't read the disc. It would always get to the part where Luis dies, and you'd start walking around, and just it would keep abruptly freezing. Then I called Nintendo, and they're like, yeah, it's out of warranty, and the lens is, like, bad. I'm like, yay, I can't finish it. Yay. But I did manage to save up money. Luckily, I was a kid with a paper route. And EB Games at the time did take in broken consoles, so hooray! And I eventually did get it, and I did eventually beat Resident Evil 4 and played it into the ground. I have played it more times than I can count, as I've played it pretty much verbatim on, like, every release. I always eventually pick it up. Still, one of the more unique ones was still the Wii version of this game, as it has the motion controls, which unintentionally made the game easier for whatever reason. And I can't believe I forgot I had these two. It wasn't until I went to grab this. I remember Resident Evil even has like 2 light rail shooters on the Wii. They're also on the PS3. I have them for the Wii. These were fun. Like, you got somebody to play with. They're excellent. You play them by yourself, yay. But as a party game, or just like, hey, I want to play like a rail shooter, this was kind of a fun way to sum up the game. I actually had one friend who didn't like Resident Evil, but when his brother picked up these games, like, I remember we were, spent a few nights drinking and just playing, just shooting zombies all night and actually going through the story. It was really fun. And it's a great series if you haven't checked it out, especially in this spooky time of year. This is the time to check it out. They're so good. There's a couple black sheeps. I'd recommend 0 going last if you were to like try and play through the classic ones. It's a bit weird. I'm also not the biggest fan of 3. Don't know, for whatever reason it doesn't click with me. I do like the remake. I know it cuts out things. I'm not a fan of 3, so I'm just going to stay away from that argument, but I love the remake of 2, and one day I'm still praying and hoping for a remake of Code Veronica, because if any one game really needs it, it's like this, and 0 could really use a remake. But anyways, guys, that's it for this week's episode. I just wanted to give like a quick snippet of my love for the Resident Evil games, and hopefully you guys got that. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of Resident Evil. And before I go, I forgot to mention this because I have so much Resident Evil. They're also on the Switch, because everything should be on the Switch. That's my opinion. But anyways, guys, that's it for this week's episode. Take care. Have a good one. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated when you can. Take care.